Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Spare Parts Racing Podcast. I am your host, Sean.
I'm Stephen.
And I'm Taylor.
And friends, what is it?
It's
race week.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. It's race week. Yes.
I was going to say it was when we figured out, we have season starting.
I mean...
And full panic
Yeah,
mode.
well, race week is more fun.
Yeah, it's funner. It's funner.
It took too long.
It's more fun to say race week than anything else. So, yes, it is race week for F1 and for IndyCar. And because we are so prepared, we are going to do 2 episodes, one of our F1 preview, one of our IndyCar preview. This one will be the F1 preview. And then we'll put another IndyCar one out. And if you've listened to the IndyCar one and you're coming to the F1 one, that's great. If you listen to the F1 one, go to the IndyCar one after that. See? All works. So, 2023 season's here. Testing's over. Who wants to make outrageous claims like Aston Martin's going to win the championship?
Sean, okay.
I am all aboard this hype train.
Well,
Okay.
you know what? You still sound more sane than someone who would say something really crazy like, Ferrari's going to win a championship.
You know what?
You know what, Steven? Get out. Get out right now. Stop coming for me and my hope, okay? Let me have my hope.
I would also like to just point out the irony that I have no faith in Ferrari, yet I'm wearing a red shirt and I have a red drink.
And you got 2
You
Ferraris
also
behind
have
you?
a Ferrari car. Yeah, I was
No.
going to say, you have
No,
2
there's only
Ferraris
one.
behind you.
There's one. The other one is a James Hinchcliffe Genesis car.
Okay, fair
Okay,
enough.
fine.
So
Fair enough. I've got 2 Ferrari things in the back and also one that I was planning on wearing and did not have time because of the dentist. But yeah, know what? Ferrari, I've got faith. I've got faith.
Meanwhile, I'm
Got
rocking
faith.
my Aston hat because I can finally wear this without shame.
Yeah.
Eh,
That's
They look
okay.
good.
I'm joining you on the hype train, to be honest. Like,
thank you. Thank
they
you.
look good.
They do.
I refuse.
I actually support this year, son.
I refuse to support my F1 team this year.
Who's your team?
Which is?
McLaren.
Oh, yeah, you're fucked.
Oh,
We're-
good luck.
No, we're taking the year off.
Okay,
Maybe
fair
even
enough.
next
You
year.
can't just take the year off. That's not fair. No. Hold on.
Okay,
You cannot take
friends.
the year off.
I have no delusions of grandeur about a championship in any capacity, or even
You know what?
somewhat decent performance at this point.
I'm not touching this
Low
one.
expectation. Low expectation.
You always are just... Never mind. Anyway, so... We're going to do this starting with going by team in order they were last year and talk about what we're expecting of every single team. Then we're going to go from that to talking about our fantasy team and who we've selected this year to start our fantasy F1 teams with. And then we're going to go for our overall season predictions. So this should be fun. I'm sure there'll be lots of roasting and bad takes.
Oh,
Always.
100%.
So,
Always bad take.
without further ado, let's talk about Red Bull, who absolutely, by all means, dominated testing.
Of course I did. Are we surprised?
Not at all.
Not at all.
And let's be honest, they're probably going to do it again this year. It's going to be similar.
I think
Well-
for Red Bull this year, anything short of a 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship is disappointment.
Yes.
I feel like, yeah, for them, that I think is what their goal is. That's what they're aiming for. I mean, every team ideally wants that, but for Red Bull, I think they see it as like what they design their car for. Anything less would be total disappointment.
They look bulletproof to start. Like, they were fast, reliable. Max is already
Yeah.
topping timing sheets without even trying. So,
Well,
It should be a bit of a cakewalk.
Again, but like we always have to keep in mind that testing is
Means nothing.
taken with a large grain of salt.
Yes.
This doesn't mimic race conditions.
It
so
does
we
not.
shall see. While they've got pace, and they're definitely the team to beat this year, that goes without saying, but again, it's testing.
Red Bull is in a great position to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, because again, it's not one race, it is a whole season. It is so much time, and we know they have a penalty to them, to their development, because of the overspend stuff from last year. So it's going to be interesting to see if the other teams can catch up to Red Bull, if Red Bull finds itself at a disadvantage later in the year. But to start the season, they are where they need to be. They're fast.
Yeah.
Their car looks great. And Max is probably in a good position to win again.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
The only thing that might hold them back would be internal fighting, kind of based on how last year ended, with the whole I gave you the reason why, all that bullshit that happened. But it'll be their 2016 Mercedes fight sort of thing, where even if they squabble, they're still finishing 1-2 unless they take each other out.
I mean, for that to happen, Checo has to at least catch Max. So,
and yeah,
I
don't
feel
know
like
if he's doing that.
just the way that the team is set, like I feel like Horner would squash that very quickly if there were team dynamics like that. Like he's very much the team principal that does not put up with shit at all.
Yeah, he favors his number one driver. If you either toe the line or you're out. So, yeah, if Checo gets uppity, he's gone. Simple as that.
They'll just sign someone else. Like we've
like
seen that.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yep.
Come back. See what happens, Daniel.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So
Red Bulls, they're good. They are. They look great. We'll see how close the competition is to them. But start the season by far the favorite.
Yep. There's to lose.
And speaking of losing, Ferrari is next.
There you go.
Okay, look. I think the Ferraris will have a good season this year. I'm hoping that we're not going to have the same like start off strong and then just plummet. I think like from what I was reading, it sounded like they could tell that the Ferrari was a little bit more stable this year than it was last year. So here's hoping that they keep their pace and that they don't struggle the same way that they did last time. I'm also hoping that whatever issues that they have in their strategy, because that was always the biggest problem, is strategically they were failing beyond belief. So here's hoping that Vassar is going to make a difference in those decisions, and perhaps there was an overhaul of the team. So I'm gonna cross my fingers that we're going to see for at least like a second, like Ferrari in second place by like a long shot. But obviously the ideal would be that they're competitive with Red Bull to the point where we're seeing like a really close battle.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks, I feel, at Ferrari to start the season. One, how much will Vassar actually improve the team? Is the strategy mistakes? Like, is Ferrari just going to say finally fuck it and not cave to their own pressure themselves? I like, you have a great driver lineup. You have a good car. Can you develop this car to take on Red Bull? Because last year, that's where Ferrari failed. They failed to develop that car. It was strong at the season. It was good against Red Bull. Same pace, and then Red Bull figured it out and got the final, like the last half of the season, dominated, and Ferrari fell into the teeth of Mercedes.
Yeah, it was very much a like one step forward, two steps back situation in the latter half of the season, where I think they were trying to figure out like what was going on and develop the car, but every single time that they did, they had more problems than they did success.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see their power unit if they can run it up. It's max like they say they can.
Mm-hmm.
That should be good for the team. Again, you got good drivers. Can they just put it together? I would not be surprised to say that Ferrari is a dark horse for a championship this year.
All aboard the Hope Train! Toot toot!
Yes, until the Hope Train goes over a cliff, which is usually what? Silverstone?
Yeah, or spontaneously combust like Carlos Sainz engine.
Which time?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm not getting sad at y'all's roasting and chirping a Ferrari because you'll eat your words.
Probably
Honestly,
won't.
I kind of hope so. So that way, it's an actually exciting title. Well, not title fight, because I don't think we'll get to that point, but it's at least somewhat interesting and it's not over by Silverstone. So
I can see if Ferrari are good enough this year and competing with Red Bull, Max winning the championship, Ferrari winning the constructor.
yeah, that
is-
could happen.
That is honestly what I believe.
I love
could
that
definitely happen.
belief.
So,
Obviously, my beliefs are a little bit like shooting for the moon here. So,
I mean, you want Leclerc not to fucking choke his way out of a paper bag or whatever the heck it is. I don't know.
he was screwed over so many times. He didn't choke. That is an unfair assessment.
I mean, the French Grand Prix, he literally choked harder than a seal in a plastic bag.
Or a turtle with a
turtle.
plastic straw.
Turtle with a plastic straw, something like that. Yeah. Like,
No, sea life. Insert sea life plus plastic item. You're good.
Yeah.
It's fine. It all works.
sea turtle on like one of those like can separator thingies.
Right. No.
Yeah.
That's the penguins. The turtles hate the plastic straws because they get stuck in their nose.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
You know what? This is a really depressing conversation.
We're talking about Ferrari. Of course it is.
Exactly. We had to bring it back to reality somehow. Come on, Taylor.
All right. Are we moving on?
Fine.
But I guess quick question before we do move on from Ferrari. So they finished 25 points behind Red Bull last year. If they do not pass, how close
Wait,
do they have
25?
to be? Or sorry, 205 points. Sorry, my brain forgot.
Oh,
a zero.
205 points?
Like, do you have some
Yeah,
minor
200.
dyslexia?
Yes. But anyway, so what is a successful season if they cannot surpass Red Bull in either the drivers or the constructors? Like, how close do they have to be to say this was a good year, even though we didn't get either trophy?
It's not decided
1
by
point.
Mexico.
Okay.
It has to be at least a fight.
Okay. That's fair.
I
Ferrari
think
fan?
ideally it goes down to the last race.
Ooh, that's even
I
bigger.
mean, I was gonna say ideally that
Go big,
would
go
be-
home.
For Ferrari that would be ideal, but yeah, I think if it's still competitive with 4 races to go and it's not, what did Bonatto say? Oh yeah, we can win out all 10 races and possibly be there, or whatever it was.
Shut up, Bonato.
Yeah, he
That's
was
why you
delusional.
got fired.
No, really, there was a lot of
Delusional.
like
my God.
he was like
Man was
Ted
on
Lasso
Mars.
without the positivity.
Not even though. Like the man was quite literally on Mars. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what planet he was existing on where he did not see the problems. He was like, "Oh no, we're fine."
He
didn't even have
he
a half
bought the
decent
Ferrari hype more than anyone else.
I know. He was drinking that Kool-Aid. Like
Anyway, that's all for Ferrari.
Yes.
Steve, what do you think? What's their success if it's not 205?
Yeah, again, like 3 or 4 races left, and it's still like I say mathematical. It's still realistically mathematical, not
Fair enough.
Italian mathematical. Where it's Sean doing his magic math machine, and yeah, sure, the points actually equal out.
The magic math machine was great. I'm telling you, it worked.
No, it didn't.
It
the
totally worked.
magic math machine.
What was your grade in accounting again?
I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly.
Okay,
Sean.
so
Mercedes.
Mercedes.
I don't see them having a good season.
I think they're in
I
trouble.
just feel it in my bones. I think that they're in trouble. I feel it in my bones. I feel like Hamilton is going to need a back brace at the end of the season. Porpoising. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's just something brewing in the Mercedes cauldron that ain't good.
I think the Mercedes look human again.
Yes.
Like, you know, they have possibly been jumped by one team. They have another team maybe nipping at their heels or past them also. Like, they're in for a fight this year. Last year, they started off as kind of not being there, and they kind of came to the fight at the end. Yeah, they're gonna be in a fight for the entire season.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. Have you guys been watching Drive to Survive at all? Have you started it?
3 episodes in.
Okay, I'm also 3 episodes in. What I found really interesting was how much you could tell Mercedes and Hamilton specifically are so not used to not winning, like not dominating. And like they had such a hard time digesting the fact that they were not like automatically winning races.
Yeah.
And I was like, you watch it and you're like, wow, you just expect to win. So
After
I feel
years
like
of doing it, yeah, I
them.
feel like it is hard. Especially like not even as the driver, but as like the mechanics in the team. Every week you're going out, high fiving, cheering them on, you cross the line. Now you're like, fuck, I kind of miss doing that.
Yep. That was the culture for 7 years.
Yeah, it hurts
So-
the team's morale when you're used to winning all the time. When you build the best F1 car ever, and then you don't, it's not a good feeling for the team.
Yeah, like you can just like it's just so apparent that like everybody was kind of feeling that. I think. I mean, like obviously, I have my opinions about Mercedes and how they operate, but it'll just be interesting to see how their performance is this season and what that will translate to in terms of dynamics. Because Toto was like mad like the whole season.
You have to also look at Mercedes right now as it's lost a lot of what made it to start, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Niki Lauda was a big part of that team. His leadership's gone after he passed. Was it James? What's his name? What's his last name? He just went with Williams.
Yeah. Was it Bono?
No, it wasn't Bono.
No,
I think it's just Bono and Toto they have left. Like a lot of that leadership group is kind of becoming less and less. So you're going to have guys filling in roles, doing stuff else. So you may have a whole lot of other shakeup inside the organization. So it might not just run as smoothly. And that happens when you're a good team, is people want guys from the good teams.
Yeah, James Vowles.
Vowles.
Yeah.
Vowles, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is what happens in every sport. Is everybody get at what a team is good for a long time, they get stripped away because it's a promotion for their lower guys to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing it in so we're in NFL offseason. The guy who coordinated the Kansas City offense for the last, I think, 4 years or something like that. He's a head coach somewhere now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's just the way it is. And so Mercedes is kind of coming back down to earth.
Yeah, the team that lost the Super Bowl lost both of their coordinators because they were successful.
I mean, you could have argued shit based on Super Bowl, but anyway.
Yeah.
Still unhappy about that.
No, well.
Anyway, so Mercedes,
okay.
What's a successful year for them? Third again?
Yeah, holding onto that third spot because the other teams are coming.
Yeah. Oh, Lord,
ideally,
they coming.
if they can do,
yeah,
if they can hold on to third, I think that's their best result. To be honest, like the best case scenario is third for them.
Yeah, because they don't have a car to fight for, Ferrari if Ferrari even has like a bad year. Really, it would take a really bad year for Ferrari and Mercedes to be close together, I think.
Yeah.
Or the zero pod concept blows the doors off. And
or blows it back out.
Yeah.
Because the 4%.
Yes, very nice.
It's also,
Yes.
it's also an
But yeah,
indicator.
it would take very bad Ferrari and very good Mercedes for it to be close, I think.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of, oh Lord, they coming. Alpine?
sandbaggers.
I think they are. People have been
I
talking
can
like
see them.
they are not showing their hand in testing.
Nope.
No. I can
Not
see
at
them
all.
sandbagging for sure.
Yeah, they're coming in way under
Um,
the radar this year, and like the team's kind of confident. They've just been kind of doing their runs.
Fully
Not-
French.
Full French team, yep.
Full French lineup.
So they're really good reverse. Because like we're treating French. Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Joke. So yeah,
Dot,
Alpine.
dot, dot.
What do you guys expect from Alpine this year?
I honestly feel like we're going to see a really interesting fight for that third spot. And I feel like it's going to be, like, I know we're going to touch on Aston Martin, but I feel like there's going to be, like, 3 teams specifically that are going to be fighting for that. And, like, Mercedes I could see up there, depending on how their season starts. But Alpine and Aston, I think, are definitely going to be giving us, like, really something to watch in terms of being best of the rest.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they were a solid team last year. Could have had a better year if they could have kept Alonso on track for half the races.
Their car
They
also
could-
really struggled.
Yeah. So if they can sort out those issues, Gasly has a bounce back year from because that Alpha last year was bad, and
Yeah.
they were like. But we've seen Gasly can be a good driver when given the right equipment. So as long as they're another team where as long as they don't have a ton of internal fighting, they should have a good year. They should be fighting for that third spot, at the very least retaining fourth.
They're going to get some podiums. I'm confident they're going to get a few podiums this year.
Yeah, I feel like for Gasly specifically, I feel like this is going to be I could see this being a really good season for him because he's out of the Red Bull environment now, which I think it just wasn't going to lead him anywhere. And I think he knew that. Like, there was really no scenario where he was moving up into the Red Bull spot with Perez doing well and kind of serving the role that he's kind of meant to serve as the second. So I think Pierre being somewhere new where he doesn't have the same like people around him, where he knows that like success is kind of being put into him and like he's got that kind of encouragement, I think it's going to really make a difference in his driving this year.
And I will also say that I'm going to bet the Pierre and Esteban feud or whatever, overblown.
Way overblown, I'm sure.
I think if they can somehow pull off a 1-2 in any race, they'll be fucking losing it.
It would take a bit of a miracle, but yeah.
Yeah.
But those happen. I mean,
Yep.
Verstappen had like what 3 DNFs last season? It's possible.
To start the year, yeah. But they were pretty solid. He was pretty solid the rest of the time. So
Yeah.
Still doesn't matter.
A
It
lot
takes-
of P1s there from his record.
yeah.
Well, it still takes only a few races, right? Like you need like a couple DNFs for the Red Bulls and maybe a Ferrari struggle, and you never know. Alpine could get a 1-2.
Yeah.
Well, and they have a,
Also,
they have a good
Verstappen
chance.
only had 2 retirements last year.
Okay, so he had 2. Never mind. It's still
It's okay.
doesn't matter. 2
One-
2 retirements.
I think Alpine has a good chance because the schedule I think favors their car a little bit to start with
Mhm.
how many like long straight tracks there are.
But they
to
can
start
build a
the year.
lead.
They can bank some points early between Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Azerbaijan twice. Sorry, I mean Azerbaijan and then Miami.
Oh, I see what you did there.
They-
Because they're both
yes.
terrible street tracks. Okay.
Exactly. So I think Alpine could bank some points early, and then it's just car development and keeping up with everyone else.
That's fair.
So
Again, I think if they're 4th again this year, if they're happy with it, if they're 3rd, it's a great year.
yep. Even if they're 5th, but it's like the difference of a couple points, and
Yeah.
it's just a 3-way fight. If they're in a 3-way fight for 3rd and it's close, that's a good year. And it's just maybe we lose out on a strategy call somewhere, we have a bad or unlucky retirement, something like that. As long as it's you can attribute it to
if
something.
the field
just
can
bad
just
luck.
if the field can just trim 100 points off the top 3, it'll be a great season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next.
Steven, McLaren, you want to talk about him?
Not at all.
Too bad.
Damn it.
It's not gonna be a good season.
Yeah,
Karma's a
it's going to
bitch.
be a rough year. Yeah, it's going to be a rough year.
Karma.
I think don't think we know, because McLaren has come out and said, yeah, we're behind on our targets. We're probably not going to have anything ready until 2024, maybe even 2025 at this point. So it's going to be a couple lean years. We'll see what Piastri can do and if he can live up to the hype, even just a little bit. Like if he can somewhat replicate what Norris has been able to do in terms of dragging a bit of a crap car up the standings. Because Norris, as much as I don't like to agree with the pundits across the pond who love Norris, he does do a good job dragging up a car that is below his talent. So
I'm biting my
it'll be a
tongue
rough.
because I think Norris is overrated.
Oh,
I agree.
You can be overrated, but you can still say he's done a good job with worse equipment than some of his peers.
I think that McLaren driver lineup itself is overrated, and the fact that's a terrible car. They're in for a painful year this year.
Yeah.
If they even sniff 6th place in the constructors, I think they're happy.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised, but yes.
It's good. Well, but here's the thing. How old's Norris? He's what, 23, 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piastri's 20. So if they time this right, they get the car ready for the end of these regulations, and they get a good jump on the 2026 regulations. Both those guys are entering their prime, and they're going to be set up for a couple runs here.
But you're just punting on an entire few years of F1.
Yeah, that's the problem. So,
and considering, again, McLaren did caused a bit of a shit show last year with the driver markets across both series, IndyCar and F1.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden now be uncompetitive. It's like, well, maybe you were kind of all talk, Zach.
Yeah.
So they need to get fast, and they need to do it as fast as possible.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
this
see.
might be a hot take, but I kind of hope that they really struggle this year because I want Lando to shut up. I find him to be insanely arrogant, and I think he needs to just eat his words a little bit with some struggles.
Anyway, moving on. I think that's all we can say about McLaren. I have nothing to add to that. I kind of agree with Jeff, I'm not going to lie.
Yep, it's going to be a lean year.
So, Alfa Romeo. I think more of the same.
Same. I feel like there's really not much. You kind of expect the same thing from them every year. I don't think they're going to be super successful, but I don't really think they're going to be trash.
They'll score points every now and then, I feel.
Yeah.
They need to find whatever magic they had with Bottas at the beginning for the first half of last year, where Bottas got all his points. I don't think he scored a single. No, that's definitely not a lie. But he struggled so bad in the second half. If you told me that he didn't score a single point in the second half, I would believe you.
He scored 3.
I think he was brutal at the back half of last year. So whatever they were doing at the beginning of last year, if they can find that, they can have a half decent year. They can be fighting over that 6th spot probably.
Yeah, he went from 46 first half of the year, 3 in the second.
Yeah, and Joe Sort was outpacing him in the second half. So they just need to, if they can get both guys going at the same time, they can have a half decent year.
Joe could be a huge wild card.
Yes,
he could. I feel. Sorry, go ahead, Steven.
I was gonna say he's got an extra year under the belt now, so he and I can't remember why this came up. He was one of the overtake leaders last year, which
Really?
which I would not expect from a guy that we barely saw on camera last year. So, yeah, I think again, if they can get both guys going at the same time, they could be a fun team to watch. But I'll temper expectations until we see this car on track
That's fair.
in a race. So
I think they'll have some good surprise results. You know, they'll
Yeah.
be up there. I actually do like their driver lineup, but last year I think I was a little hesitant on Joe. You know what? Guy's not bad. Guy's decent.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do. I think they're a 6th place team. They're that last of the midfield, I think, but not a back marker.
yeah, steal a couple points here and there,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Take advantage of 2 or 3 guys dropping out in front of them on a race weekend, that sort of thing. So, and I mean, Bottas also has mullet power, so
No, he doesn't have
what?
money. Speaking of money, Aston Martin.
There you go.
Okay, all right. Conductor
Sean,
of the hype
take it-
train.
Sean,
go
take it
for
away.
I want to throw water on this hype train. The F1 world is way too hot on Aston Martin.
Of course it is.
Like
But it is every year.
I don't know why. Like coming out of testing, everyone's like, "Oh, Aston Martin, they could be the 3rd fastest." Or I think Alonso even had a video of like, "We're faster than Ferrari," and it's like, "Okay, pump the fucking brakes on this." We haven't seen anything. You have no idea what setups and everything. Like, yes, they have improved. Yes, their car looks good. Am I going to believe they are a top 3 team? No, I'm really not. I want them to be, but I think realistically, I think the team realistically, they're going for 4th, 5th. They've been 7th the last 2 years. If they're in the top 5 this year, I think it's a good season for them and good building.
It's a step up, right? And
Yeah.
it's something that you want to see with a championship caliber driver at one point in his career. He's 41 now, so Alonso may not have that pedigree in him, but he was quick when he was 40. He probably doesn't lose that much of a step between 40 and 41, right? So like if he was going to lose it because of age, he would have already lost it.
Yeah.
So
I think we can stop using age as a issue in motorsports when you look at like Alonso, half the IndyCar field, most of the guys in sports car racing, most of the guys in NASCAR. You know what? 40 is kind of like the new 30 in motorsports, it seems.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I know that from testing in the last, since Aston Martin came in, it's been a lot of oh my gosh, they look so good. Like, could Aston Martin be the dark horse of the season and all that? But honestly, I actually think that this could be their season. Obviously not to win a championship. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I do think that they will really put up a decent fight to be that 3rd team. I could totally see it, especially with Alonso. He'll extract everything he possibly can from that car. And Stroll's good. I think he's highly underrated.
Stroll 24, Stroll 25. Yeah. I think Stroll's... again, he might miss the first race from his bike accident, which we didn't even talk about last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens,
Cycling, I swear, all of them do it. All of them cycle.
Good cardio.
Just don't do it before testing.
I mean, the other good cardio is the Henry Cavill version of cardio. Though, looking at Lance Stroll, don't think he's rocking that kind of cardio.
No.
I don't know if Taylor gets that interview reference of.
No, I don't
Cavill.
think so.
Did I get that? Okay, yeah, he was on what show was it?
And going overhead.
Some late night show.
It was a late night show. And it's like, oh, what do you do for cardio? He's like, I run.
Run.
Okay.
And then the crowd cheers. He's like, they get what I mean. It's like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, man. More power to you. Whoever that person was, good for you. It's good cardio.
Exactly. Anyway, so yeah, Aston Martin should be a top team this year. Should be fighting for consistent points if the hype train is to be believed. If not,
If you
we'll see.
take it with a grain of salt, put them in top of the midfield, you're good.
Yeah. Just keep your big three, then you have your midfield, and then, I'm confident they're not going to be 7th this year. I would 100% bet on that.
They finish 8th. Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
I just quit F1 on that. I'd eat this hat, okay? They finish 8th.
You would eat
I'm
that
so
hat?
glad. I'm so glad this is recorded.
Yes, if they finished 8th in the championship, I would eat the hat.
Can we oh my gosh. Okay, Steven, if this happens, you're eating that hat, Sean.
I will.
We will record it.
I'll put it in the air fryer, okay? I don't care.
Put it. Steven, put this down. Write it down.
I'm
Okay.
getting him some barbecue sauce.
Okay,
right
awesome.
now.
Anyway, so Haas.
Next.
Next.
Aw.
I got no notes really for Haas. Just do your thing. Be there.
Growling.
Yeah. I mean, their driver lineup is a good mix between Magnussen's chaos and Hulkenberg just not being great but not being shit. That's a positive. But yeah, they got the MoneyGram. So they got
Yeah.
some cash that's not Russian rubles now. So,
Well, that's nice.
but it's not gonna get them out of the bottom 3, I don't think.
I could see them finishing 8th again. I don't think they're going to be terrible, but they have a veteran lineup. Car seems mediocre, but fine. Yeah, I don't know what to expect. They'll be there. They
Yeah.
might they might do what Haas always says, which is start strong and peter off at the end.
Yeah.
Because they just can't develop for shit.
Yep. Offer a couple surprises here and there, maybe with K-Mag again
Yeah.
doing his chaos thing. So, I'm not holding my breath for them to do much.
Yeah, the bottom 3 I'm not really expecting a whole lot for. AlphaTauri.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yuki can calm down a little bit, and
Nick DeVries, let's see what you got.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of the back half of the grid is just very much like we just don't expect a lot from them because
Who's going to luck
just
into more
don't-
points, really?
I honestly think the only team that can kind of luck into more points might be Williams, but honestly I don't know. Like maybe
Because they have
Albon.
no points to begin. It's because they have no points to begin with.
Yeah. Get one. 1 point.
Lucking into more points is just hitting double digits for those guys.
That's true.
And-
That is very fair.
Yeah, it's fair.
Let's be honest, it's going to be just like last year, where it's probably going to be Albon scoring most of the points.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
mean,
that too.
Sargent's a rookie, right? Like, I don't really expect much from him at the get-go anyway.
So is that all the teams then? Because I guess we kind of covered AlphaTauri and Williams in the same sentence there.
Yep.
Both
That's all they
really-
get.
We don't expect a whole lot. Both have a rookie on their team and someone who's leading a team. Well, one for the first time, one for the second year. There's not a whole lot to expect there. They might score some good points. They might not. I don't really expect much from them.
No.
So, anyway. Shall we move on into our fantasy teams?
Yes. Please.
This way we can actually talk about who we think is going to do well.
Yes.
Okay, so who wants to go first? Okay, don't all jump out
No
at
one.
once. Good job.
I can
Okay,
go first.
okay,
This
go
is-
ahead.
I'm good to go
fine.
first.
Go.
All right. So first and foremost, my team name for fantasy is the Hope and Hype Train. Obviously, you can kind of guess who my constructors are. So I have Ferrari, which is the Hope, and Aston Martin, which is the Hype of this train. So the drivers that I chose, I feel like everybody chose Verstappen. Like with with the whole DRS boost being different this year and being allowed to be applied to like any driver, I'm assuming that like everybody in the league is probably going to take Verstappen. So Verstappen, I have Leclerc as well, who obviously I have a lot of hope for. Alonso, because I think he would be the stronger of the two Aston Martins. Gasly, who I really think we're gonna see a surprise, like, successful season for him. And K-Megs, because obviously you can't have everybody good.
So I'm going to go next because I have the exact same team as Taylor, except one.
Okay.
I did the same thing with Ferrari and Aston because I could see those if they are 2-3 or somehow get 1 or 3, we'll see. Yeah, makes sense. Verstappen, obviously you got to go with Verstappen. He looks on point. He'll be good to start the year at least. I went Verstappen, Leclerc, obviously. Alonso, obviously looks strong, stronger of the Astons. I went Gasly, same thing. However, I'm not dumb enough to pick K-Mag.
Budget.
I picked a cheaper option.
Oh?
I went Guan Yu Zhou.
Oh, okay.
That is my bet is that Zhou will do better this year at Alpha.
Okay. That's a fun little... What's your team name again, Sean?
Oh, it's Winning with Porpoise.
Very good.
Team Winning with Porpoise. So.
Love it.
Yeah. Very nice. I spent a lot of today flipping back and forth between how I wanted to do this, and I think I found one that I actually really like. And my team name is The Hype is Bull, because my team is basically 2 teams. I've got, as my constructors, I've got Red Bull and Aston Martin. I've got both of their driver lineups. So I've got Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, and Stroll, with my 5th driver also being Guan Yu Zhou, because cheap and score points.
Okay. I see.
So this team sinks or swims, based off 2 other teams. So let's see what happens.
Now I kind of want to change mine up.
Yeah. See, I'm not touching Ferrari with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will spend more money to get the Red Bull guys.
Fair enough. I can see that being a good choice.
Hence the hope and hype train.
Yeah.
Hope.
So, do we want to give our predictions of constructors and our top 5 in the championship? Drivers.
Yes, let's do it.
So,
do the drivers first, just because it's pretty well set, I think,
yeah,
between what we all had.
Verstappen gets his 3rd.
Dead last.
Yeah, I feel like... No, you know what? I'm not agreeing with you.
Oh.
I'm not doing it.
Okay. Believe the hype.
I'm not doing it.
Believe the hope.
I'm believing the hope.
Let me put Leclerc in first. Yeah.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Okay, fine. We'll go Verstappen 1 for all of us, and then Taylor, you're the hope with Leclerc. Interesting. Who's 2? Who do you got 2?
Perez.
I'll go Leclerc 2.
Oh, okay. Leclerc 2 and Taylor. I figure it'll be Verstappen, but I don't know. Maybe you're throwing Sainz there, and Sainz doesn't win too.
No.
Okay. I don't know how delusional you feel today.
Oh.
Rude, sir. Stop coming for the throat, man.
Moving on.
Oh, dang it. You two both stopped, and I just thought about it. I was like, no.
Not editing that out at all.
I'm so sorry. Oh gosh. Okay.
My 3rd.
Jeez.
My 3rd will be Sainz.
Sainz, okay.
Okay, it's a good choice.
So you're splitting your the Red Bulls, eh?
Yep. We know how Red Bull likes to make their car work with Max and not with Perez.
Apparently, they both like the car. So,
Yeah, we'll see in development where that goes.
anywho, I went Leclerc third.
Fair enough. Taylor, you're third?
Ah.
It's Sainz, isn't it?
Oh man, no. I am gonna go on the hyped side of this.
Alonso? Oh my god.
Yes.
At least go Stroll. Come on.
I'm gonna say Alonso. I'm slotting in for third. Finally.
You know what? That would be amazing. I just don't see it happening.
You know what? If Alonso's a great year and comes third, you look like a genius. Fuck it. Go for it. Fourth?
Yeah. I had Sainz.
I'll take Perez.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, Perez.
Okay. And
I will
fifth,
also go with Perez as fourth. Signs.
Sainz. Sean?
Stroll. No, not actually. No,
Okay,
not actually.
okay.
Oh, did you say?
No, his teammate, Alonso.
Wow.
I also had Alonso fifth.
I'll go Alonso fifth.
I
Okay,
hope.
I'm the only delusional one here.
They look so strong.
Part
like-
a lot of that's like 50-50 heart versus mine. The car looks good, but I don't fully believe it. But my heart wants something other than a Mercedes there.
Like the paddock is talking up that car so much.
Yes.
Like everyone is talking how good they are. There's got to be something there.
Yeah, it's not just media. So
Yeah. So constructors.
yes,
Where do you want to start? 10?
start from 10.
Who's everyone's last place this year?
Williams.
AlphaTauri.
Hmm. Oh. I am going to say Alfa Romeo.
Ooh,
Bold choice.
very bold.
Ninth.
Williams.
Yeah,
And
Williams.
This is where I had AlphaTauri.
Okay.
So
I-
you can see
I
lots and
think-
lots of hope for these guys.
I think Williams will do better this year. They'll finally not come last. I think AlphaTauri is going to kind of fall off. So, who's everyone's eighth?
I had Haas.
I'll put AlphaTauri in 8th.
I'll put McLaren.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
Yikes.
If they are saying this is as bad as they think it is, I'll put McLaren
Yeah.
eighth.
Okay.
that's gonna hurt if that comes true.
Ooh, Steve, you're gonna have a rough year if that comes true.
I mean, I don't hold much hope. I put them 7th, so
That's fair.
it's not like they're. I have trouble seeing them drop to a Haas Alpha Williams level. Is what?
Are they
That's-
dropping or are other teams coming up though?
Yes, but that's still 120 points dropped in the standings. That's a lot in 1 year. So, anywho, 7th, I have McLaren. What do you guys have?
McLaren
Haas.
as well.
I would do Haas.
Okay.
I say Haas beats McLaren this year.
Okay. Next, 6th,
Alfa Romeo.
Haas.
Haas up in 6th.
Haas is sixth. Damn. Well, yeah, I guess you had Alfa Romeo at the back.
And I also had Alfa Romeo 6th.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
They're going to be
bottom
solidly slotted in there.
the bottom half, I think everyone is confident with saying that's the bottom half. There is the
It's
bottom half and the top half.
Yeah, the midfield is where the shuffling gets interesting.
Ish.
Right here is where we get a little interesting.
For 5?
I want to see. Yep,
Okay.
I put Alpine.
I'll put Aston.
At 6th, Mercedes.
No, this is 5.
Oh, we're at 5?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I miscounted. Yep. Mercedes, 5.
Wow, that's a
Right,
bad
'cause Haas was 6.
Mercedes. Yeah. So, Wow, the Aston Martin fan who can't decide with his heart or his head is going with his head or
Yeah.
heart. I don't know which at this point.
Maybe a bit of both. You know, it's
Yeah.
the fear of being disappointed again.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Whereas me, I'm down for Aston Martin to be fourth, where I currently have them.
Mm. See, fourth, I would say Mercedes.
Fourth, you got Mercedes. Okay. Taylor.
Okay, hold
There's
on.
like two. There's
I'm
like
making
two.
a decision.
There's two teams. You
I
can pick
know.
there.
Alpine.
That's yeah. I get that.
Alpine. Which I know leaves an interesting top three.
That's it. Yeah, I guess yeah. My top three, like my three, is Alpine, because
Okay.
Alpine and Renault and everything. Look at their trajectory the last few years. You know, they've been on that steady rise, and it really feels this year that no one's talking about them. It's like, yeah, they're there. They look okay. They look fine, but like, they weren't putting in the stupid lap times that were getting a lot of attention. They were just doing their thing, and I think Alpine could be the surprise team this year. Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's totally fair. I totally agree with that.
Again, the first couple races could be a big tell. See
Yeah.
if that top
Yeah.
speed helped them out or not. I put Mercedes. I did. This one gave me stress to think about, though. I very much considered dropping them at least one spot.
I think 3 to 5 will be a tight fight all year.
That's the positions to watch. Really.
Aston has the development, basically the developmental side of things. Like they have the advantage there, right? Because they finished seventh. They get more wind tunnel and CFD testing, so yeah, they could easily develop that car a lot faster than other people can, and bring better upgrades. Mercedes has a little less so, and Alpine, they're in the middle. So really, it's going to come down to the development of the car. Mercedes, we know, works their car well, but their car has been struggling, so they might struggle beginning of the year, I think, and come on at the end. But it's just how many points will they lose and how many can they make up. So, yeah, I'm confident having them fourth.
Okay.
So number one or number two? What do you want to start with?
You may as well do number one. So.
Okay, who's your constructors champion?
Hold on. Did I
What?
just miss 3?
Didn't you just say? Didn't you say Aston?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
No, did you get to say it, or we just assume you're gonna go say Aston?
Oh no, yes, because it just leaves Aston as 3 and then the top 2. Okay, constructors champion, go.
Red Bull.
Ferrari.
I mean, I had their drivers top 2, so.
Ferrari. Sean, you're going Ferrari?
I will say Ferrari wins constructors, Red Bull wins drivers. That is my prediction for this year.
Taylor, I'm more surprised you're going Ferrari considering you had Sainz behind Perez.
Could be a tight fight.
I can't say that this makes sense.
I was gonna say it's a very tight window.
She's kind of hedging her bets either way.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I get Leclerc is ahead of Verstappen, but that window I would guess would be a lot tighter than Perez and Sainz if you have Sainz behind.
Yeah.
Either way, I won't judge. I'm just saying it's a very tight window.
I truly
freeze that.
Look,
believe
I'm gonna be wrong about something, so
I believe the Ferrari is a good car this year, and I think they might be able to outdevelop Red Bull.
Okay, that's fair.
Red Bull's car is such a development from their car from last year, when Ferrari's kind of gone a different path. So Ferrari might be able to find more time in their car than Red Bull can. So
We will see what magic Fred Vassar can work.
basically, yeah. So yeah, that's our predictions for this year. Anything else? Not all? What?
No. Again, the 3 to 5s are going to be interesting. I'm very
I'm not confident in
intrigued.
any of this, so I'm just gonna say that.
No.
You know, It can go any way. It's just what I
Those
believe
those
and hope will
three
happen.
teams, yeah, those 3 teams are going to be very interesting to watch.
I'm just looking forward to finally watching some F1.
Yes. Should
That's
be.
the Ferrari spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, on that note, thank you very much for listening to this episode. If you haven't already, please check out our IndyCar review also, which we are actually going to be recording right now anyway. So, thank you. Goodbye. See you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.